When it comes to piano tuning, restoration, and repair, Matt Coker hits all the right notes. Matt's Piano and Organ opened in 2003 and have since become a one-stop shop for many organ and piano owners in Knoxville.
My dad taught me how to play the piano back when I think I started when I was 5, and it's been pretty fun. I've been doing that a long time. So when I started out on piano technology, I was working on my music degree, and then I've kind of paused that for a little while to go down to Atlanta and go to the trade school. It was in 2003 when I finished my training there, and I worked on many pianos down there. I completely rebuilt an upright piano, and I had a hand in rebuilding several grand pianos. When I was done with that, I came back up to UT and finished my music degree and started my own business. And then I did that for a long time until I started getting into Hammond organs. There's not really a trade school for Hammond organs, so I went to Pellissippi and got some electronics training. And then everything else has been on-the-job training, and thankfully have an excellent mentor that's got like 40 years of experience up in Indiana, and he's taught me so much about Hammond organs that I would not be where I'm at today if it were not for him. When it comes to solving different repair problems, experience is everything. Thankfully, I got some training from my buddy Lonnie Smith up in Indiana. What I did when I first started working with him is I took a Hammond organ up there and we completely took the whole thing apart and put it all back together. And when you do that to instruments, then you really get to know them very well, and you could see all the different things that can go wrong with them. Same with pianos. That's where I started in piano technology school. I completely took this upright all apart and put it all back together and replaced hammers and action parts and pieces of felt and bridle straps and the whole 9 yards. There's a Wurlitzer in the back that I've completely taken apart. I think that's about the 7th or 8th one that I've done. I've done about close to 24 Hammond organs. I've done countless pianos. I don't even know how many. But just taking it apart and putting it all back together really teaches you on what could go wrong and being able to solve future repair problems. Like this lady called me the other day and she was like, my piano is a little bit more out of tune in the middle section, and I knew that was where the tenor brake was. So I said, you know, that's where pianos mostly go out of tune, on the tenor brake, which is this section right here. That's where the soundboard flexes the most. So I told her nothing to be alarmed about. So yeah, experience is everything. For pianos, it's more of the big items, soundboard and pin block, really. If you can't tune it, then you're pretty much done, unless you want to put oversized pins in it. But there's over 200 pins in a piano. So if there were a couple of loose ones, I could put a bigger pin in there, that'd be fine. If all of them were loose and you couldn't tune it, well then it's not usable as a musical instrument. This piano behind me, it was in total disrepair, and the cabinet was really, really rough. That's why it's black now. And so it looks good, and I replaced the knobs, and I worked on the action, totally fine. But I made sure that the tuning pins were tight first, and the soundboard was in good condition. So Hammond organs, I've got one that's a parts organ because it's, unfortunately, got a lot of rust inside on the metal parts. And that's when it starts to get to be a little bit of a, challenge to make it a viable musical instrument.
That guy is.
Other than that, I mean, it would have to be pretty bad for
doing
me
that
to
makes
have
a
to
huge
trash a
difference on
Hammond
my
organ.
organs.
Unfortunately, some other shocking things is some previous technicians that are hobbyists, I should say, that try to repair instruments. So I got to kind of fix what they did first before I can actually fix it. Fix it is what I like to call it. Especially when it comes to electronics. I mean, it's just some of the stuff that I've seen. It's just like, my goodness gracious, what were they thinking? This would never work. And it has to be reliable. Like, well, that's one thing that I like to do in my repairs is I like to fix it one time so that I never have to worry about it again. This is my rental B3 that I've gone over, and I made sure that I wasn't going to have to take it somewhere and then set it up and then have it not work, because that would be horrible. So I make sure that I fix it one time and it's good to go. There's some instruments that unfortunately cannot be repaired, and I get calls about old pianos and organs all the time. And unfortunately, the organs particularly, there's no parts or literature or anything on these obsolete instruments, and it's just it's time for them to go in the instrument heaven in the sky. Same for pianos, so they can be too far gone, and it's just not economically feasible or rewarding to try and bring it back to life. Although there are some that I tuned a piano yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I tuned a piano yesterday that was a 1950s Mason and Hammond upright piano, and she was complaining about sticky keys, and I went there and I solved the sticky key problem, and it was her great-grandmother's piano, I think, and solved the sticky key problem, tuned it, fixed the bench legs, regulated the pedals, and it was good to go. And she's got 2 young children, and she was very happy with everything. That's a good feeling, to be able to have an instrument be able to turn back into a musical instrument. So that's cool.